All right, so here we are with this assignment. What we're going to try to do is take our washed out photo that I'll provide with you for you, which is of a beach scene. And we're going to try to make it pop a lot more with some color and just make it look better. And then we're going to cut out the stuffed animal that I'll also provide for this one. And then you're going to cut them out, put them like you're sending them on vacation to the beach. So you're going to take this worm, and then we're going to try to apply the same lighting conditions that we applied to the photograph to our stuffed animal. And you can see right over here, there are a lot of layers. There are a pretty good amount of steps, but we're going to do this all non-destructively. So we don't need to unlock the background layer. We don't need to do any of that. We're going to do everything to where we don't actually affect the original photo. So let's go ahead and get started. We are going to start out. This is what our photograph will look like to begin with. And we're going to go right over here to our fill adjustment layers. We're going to click on that, and we're going to start off with the levels. Now, if you notice right here in the RGB channel, we do notice some gaps. So we have a gap on our shadow side, and we have also a gap on our highlight side. So we're going to just try to close those gaps. Now, the numbers that I'm going to give you won't particularly work for the other photos that you'll choose, but the process should still be the same. So this first number on the shadow side, we're going to go ahead and type in 18. And if I hit tab on the keyboard, that should take me to the next number. I'm going to type in, we're actually going to adjust our mid gray. So we're going to just a little bit, we're going to go 1.11. So it's going to take it over to the left a little bit, closing those gaps. So if you can see right here, we're just trying to get this shadow side and our highlight side to move over to where it starts to register information within our color profile. If we see this little graph right here. So on the highlight side, we're going to go ahead and type in 224. Again, just kind of closing that gap. Doesn't do much, but you can see just a little bit that it does take our contrast up just a little bit. Now we're going to go back here over to our quick selection tool. Now you may have this tool right over here on top. So if you right click on that tool, or it could be the magic wand tool, but either way, we want our quick selection tool. So we can zoom in with Command plus. We can also push this in by hitting the double arrow. If I hold space bar, it will turn into a little hand, and that will also allow me to kind of move the photo around. If I hit right bracket on the keyboard, that will make my brush bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and try to select the sand. Now it will jump into the water a little bit. We are creating a layer mask, so it doesn't need to be exactly perfect quite yet, but we can try to clean up maybe some of these bigger areas. So if I hit the left bracket, that will make my brush smaller. And then if I hold Option on the keyboard, that plus will turn into a minus, and I can try to kind of push it back to where it's just the water being highlighted or selected. And then you just kind of try to keep working it back and forth. If you notice right here, it will go into the water still just a little bit, but we're going to clean that up right after this next step in our layer mask. So if we go right over here to our fill adjustment layers, and this time we're going to go to color balance right here, and then we see these channels pop up. So let's go ahead and put the numbers in first, and then we'll clean up our layer mask. So again, the numbers that I give you might not particularly work for the other photos that you'll choose, but the process should still work. So with our sand, we're going to want to add some more red on that first one than the blue. So we're going to go with, if we just type in 81, that should automatically take it to the positive side. If I hit tab, that'll take me to the next number. And then we're going to want this to go more towards the magenta side than green. So we're going to go negative 38. And then our last one, we're going to go negative 90 because we're going to want to go more yellow than blue. So with your other photos, you'll just kind of slide these around until you get it to where you like it. So if I hit that double arrow, I push that back in. And then if I hit B on the keyboard, that'll take me to the brush tool. And then with, I want to make sure that my opacity of my brush and my flow of my brush are all at 100%. And then, so if I'm using white on top, you'll notice that it is now adding that brown color to our water. So we're going to hit X. So if you can look over here, if I hit X on the keyboard, that will toggle back and forth my two swatches. So now if I paint over that area, it will almost make it look more black and white because this photo is so washed out. And then see if I'm painting over this area, that is getting rid of the brown in maybe some of the water that I might not have wanted. So if I do this first, because we are going to make a copy of this layer to change the sky color, if I do this first, then that makes the next step much easier. So right there, that looks pretty good. You can also, if you think it looks good, if you hit the slash button right above return on the keyboard, which some say is /, some say it's \, but if you hit that one that's right in between delete and return, you can actually see this pink pop up, and this is your layer mask preview. So the area that is being ignored or not being allowed to have this color show through is in black and pink, and then the area that is being allowed to show through on your layer mask is white and therefore has no color. So you can just kind of see if you missed any spots or anything like that, or if there's any cleanups that you may want to do, you can kind of paint over those areas. You know, that little bit of area is pink. And then you can kind of just go from there. And then to get rid of that pink, you would just hit that same button again and the pink would disappear. So if I hit Command 0, if I'm zoomed in quite a bit, that'll zoom all the way out really quickly. And then we're going to hit Command J. That's going to make a copy of this. But right now we still have it including the ground. So we want to include the sky. So we're going to hit Command I, which will invert this layer mask. And now we have that kind of brownish color all over the photograph. But I'm going to go ahead and double click on this symbol right here for the color balance 1 copy. And if I double click on that symbol, this should pop back out and we're going to change those numbers. So now, since we think of our water and our sky as more blue, we're going to probably want to go more towards the blue side. So with this one right here, we're going to go negative 97 for that top number. And then we're going to want this middle one to actually be at 0. And then we're going to take this last channel more towards the blue side, and we're just going to type in 71, and that should take us to a plus 71, taking us more towards the blue side. And then we can go ahead and just hit that double arrow and just kind of add that or get rid of that that channel mixer. And now we're going to try to do a hue saturation for the sand. So if I come right over here to the fill adjustment layers, we're going to go hue saturation, should be right around the middle of that list. And we have this. So we're staying on the master channel, we're doing all of that. And then we are going to change the saturation to be -4. So we're going to just take a little bit of that saturation out, and we're going to take our lightness up to 46. So now we have this, and we can see that it looks quite a bit washed out, and it washes out the whole photograph. So right, and that's happening because we have this layer mask is all white. So it's already selected on that layer mask. We're going to hit the trash can, and we're going to hit delete. Now this next step is a way that we can copy a layer mask. So we want the one for the stand, which is this first one that we did. So we're going to hold Option on the keyboard, and you have to make sure that you click on the exact right area. So since we want to copy the layer mask, we need to make sure that we click on the layer mask and drag up to that one. And now we have made a copy of that layer mask. So now the only thing that is washed out or more washed out is the sand. And what we're going to do right here, because it does seem a little bit washed out, we're going to change the opacity of that layer to 50%. Type in 50, hit return. Now the sand seems a little bit better. And then now we're going to do kind of the same thing with the sky. So we're going to actually hit Command J. So we're going to make a copy of this, and we're going to delete that layer mask. And this time we're just going to add a new layer mask. So it's that rectangle with a circle inside of it. So now we have this. Now another way that you can approach a layer mask if you want it to fade in and out is by using a gradient. So if you hit G on the keyboard, should take you to your gradient tool. And right up here, you should see black to white. If you do not see that, you may have to hit X. If you see white to black, if you hit X, then you should see black to white. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hold Shift, and we're going to click about where the horizon line is, and then drag up to the top of the photograph. And so now we should have just this little bit of like a fade right up here, with maybe the sun poking through on the top. All right. So now that we have that, if we can look right over here, should be pretty much all of the steps for the photograph. And now we're gonna, in the next video, we'll go ahead and add in our inchworm, and then we're gonna apply those some drop shadows. We're gonna make a shadow, and we're gonna apply some of those same filtered effects to match the lighting. All right.